The dream is free, but the hustle is sold separately. Welcome to this week's episode of the Agent Playbook. Travis and I will be dissecting the framework to finish the year strong. Please follow and like. So everybody took claims to all the extra space and all of that.
Our house is a disaster right now.
And how is she doing in school?
Awesome.
Yes, nice.
Time of her life.
I love it. I love it. So if you have any comments or any questions, always drop them in the chat. For those of you that are watching us, feel free to give us a like, give us a love, follow us. I don't have to say follow, share live. I'm sorry?
Might think we're not up. So hit that share button.
Oh, hit the share button. Okay. So a little bit excited about today. Our topic is really kind of not really a topic. It's more of an announcement. And let me get back to my notes here. Sorry about that. And we really just wanted to talk about 120 days, the next 120 days, September 1st.
Correct.
Yeah, we're coming up on a new month.
Last third of the year.
The last third of the year, and we decided we were going to try something new to see who wanted to participate, who didn't want to participate. I guess really we're interested in who wanted to participate. But let's start with what is it? What's the next 120 days going to look like starting September 1st?
You asking me?
Sure.
What am I to share here?
Your perspective on what you think it's going to...
I think this is great. What are we calling it? I've got a 100-day challenge. I've got 100 days of action.
120 days. It's actually
120 days.
Yeah. It's
what are we calling it?
120 days. The purpose of it is really to...
Whoa. I'm talking title.
Oh, title.
Title.
Jumpstart your life with the next 120 days, or jumpstart your career, or you know what?
All right, let's just go with 120 days.
Yeah, ignite. We'll call it 120 Ignite.
Yeah, so I loved it. You came up with the idea. Hey, let's get people some information for the last 120 days of the year. Basically, a look at your. You know what? You had told me it was when we had the reflection episode where we said, ask why about everything in your business.
Right.
And from that, I believe, is where this was spawned. And so it's 120 days of topics. I didn't count them. I think it's about, if that's 4 months times, about 16 topics.
Correct.
All real estate related, from mindset to business planning to prospecting to systems, and taking a look each week at a different aspect of your business with the idea of actually looking at your business, I guess. We don't do that enough. We always look at what we're doing and not how we do it.
And I think part of our goal and what we were hoping to accomplish is that anybody who participated in it would get an opportunity to look at their business, make some modifications, some adjustments, finish off the year strong, and prepare for 2022 and preparing for the next year to that first quarter of next year and developing that pipeline and things like that, and
Correct.
being able to take this into the next year. And for some, having a great year, we're talking about making it a better year and starting off the next year. For some not having such a great year, this is an opportunity to get a fresh start, new perspective, and we've got some things, we've got some accountability held into it. We've got some charts that we're working on that we're going to be releasing, and it's going to truly be the how-tos. As you mentioned, our podcasts moving on from now to the end of the year are really going to be talking about the different aspects of this, implementation, mindset, and actionable items. So, I think we covered the why too, didn't I?
Yeah.
I did. So let's talk about how we're going to do this.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Tell me how.
So
I know we're going to have episodes.
We're going to have an episode every single week about a different subject that is going to be pertaining to your business, your mindset, your health, things like that. We also are working on the back end. We're going to have a chart that we are going to be pushing out to everybody. This chart is a self-fillable for yourself that's going to be able to take whatever components you're looking for, what prospecting activities you decide to do, how you decide to do it. We're going to lay out the entire systems for some of these things and create an accountability behind them as well, and be able to self-track, be able to share this information. We're going to set up some one-on-one calls with people, probably some group calls with people as well. And our hope at the end of the 120 days is that we've got a measurable difference from September 1st to the end of December on where we started and where we finished.
Absolutely. That's the goal. Maybe this is a little early, but it's in my head, so I better get it out because people who watch this know I lose my train of thought quite frequently. I was talking to my wife, and after we got our daughter off to college, we're like, that's it. We need to get back to living right, not eating out all the time, not being lazy. And at some point I go, this kind of hurts. She's like, yes, it's supposed to.
That's right.
And I thought about this podcast and my business and what I do. And it's true. I mean, you've got to be in that discomfort.
Right.
So I want to prep everyone for that. If you're not feeling discomfort, you're probably not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Because you get to a point where you'll do it. I don't know if you ever get to a point where it's like going to Disneyland every day.
Right.
It's going to be a little bit of a struggle. And that's why we talk about having a plan. Because some days you just need to come in and do items 1 through 8, whether you know why you're doing them or not, knowing that you'd set them up in advance and said, this is what I need to do to be a success. Because that's how painful, uncomfortable, and lost you can become so quickly.
Right.
And so that's why I think this is great. Get people on track, know what you're going to do, get you in a little discomfort. And I promise you on the other side are great things.
On the other side, so it's I kind of double-edged sword, or because in being uncomfortable, really what we're trying to accomplish is being more comfortable. Getting your, whether it's your career, your life, whatever the case may be, getting it to a different level that you're happy with, or that you're looking at, or someplace that you want it to be. And yes, that, I don't want to say unfortunately, I actually think it's fortunate that it does require us to do some things to get out of our comfort zone. And I like the analogy, but I also think, I want people to truly understand. When we do things like this, for me personally, I always equate back to exercise, because it's one of the things I understand. That's one of the things that I know and I'm comfortable with, and it's one of the areas in my life where I tend to have those, what do you want to call that type of goal, that kind of that silliness, or might be a big stretch type thing, whether you're signing up for a first marathon or trying to PR in something, or for me, one of my big ones that some of you know about is competing in an Ironman. And I recently signed up for another half Ironman that's going to be in December, and I just started the training program, that's part of where this came from with me as well, because that discipline of creating the schedule, following the schedule, I can promise you this is pretty consistent. Wake up, look at the schedule, and literally, shit, I don't want to do this. And then go out and do it, and am probably 10 times happier that I've accomplished that and got that behind me and finished it. And then,
oh yeah, it always feels good,
right?
No matter how hard it was to get there.
Exactly. And and then it's nice to see 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, a month later, the progress that's being made. So the workouts in this particular scenario, the workouts tend to get more difficult as I'm continuing to progress, so that uncomfortableness continues. But one of the things that I'd like to talk about a little bit is that in this program, once you get started, because it's not like you're going to say, okay, change prospecting from once you've mastered prospecting for 2 hours, now we need to go out and do 3 hours or 4 hours or 5. It's really about getting the routines in place. And once the routines are in place, it should start to get more comfortable for you. In my analogy, the run should start to feel better. The bike ride should start to feel better.
Yeah, I think, thinking about my own business, I will get into phases where I'm doing stuff, but
Right.
I'm not feeling like I'm doing what needs to be done. And then I get my head straight and I'm like, okay, let's get down to this. And I look at what I have right in front of me, and it is crazy. It happened to me today in my office. It's crazy. I'm like, oh my God, I've got opportunity everywhere.
Right.
Like sitting right here in front of me. All I got to do is act on it. And we miss that. There's like
Right.
a shield that we put up that we just don't allow ourselves to get to that. And it's right there in front of us. It's not like this monumental effort.
So how do we get past that?
Well, let's go back to your analogy. I think that's such an awesome analogy of any sort of fitness goal. Anyone can run a marathon.
Yep.
If you set that plan up, you will run that marathon. I mean, there's almost no question about it. There are only two things I can think that will interrupt you. Injury,
Yep.
which is possible. And, there's injury in business. And then there's just lack of focus.
Correct.
And you drop it. But if you do what you say you're going to do, you're going to run a marathon.
Correct.
And I believe that happens in real estate and sales.
It does, and I'll add too. You're right. Injury can keep that from happening, but in all honesty and reality, all it does is delay it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it possible to get sick right before the big event? Yes. Does that mean that you've lost the opportunity? No. Do you have to start over and find the next one? Sure. But in this situation, there are two things that I'm doing this training with somebody else who decided that they wanted to do this as well. And he got injured actually pretty early on, like week 2 of us starting to train. He had a fall and hurt himself, so there was a little bit of having to go backwards. But what was interesting was the conversations, I'm missing this scheduled event and I'm missing this scheduled event. That didn't mean that we weren't going to be able to accomplish what the goal was. So that's one of the other beauties of a schedule. When you have the schedule, you can miss a day, you can miss 2 days, you can miss 3 days. It can happen here or there. There can be adjustments. But overall, if you actually kind of stick to it, you're right. You will complete the marathon, you will complete the event, and you will have a little bit left to be able to take yourself to that next level.
Yep.
So
The long game. It helps you focus on the long game and not the today, the here and the now.
that's one of the hardest things that we have in our industry is focusing on the
Yeah.
long game. Because let's be realistic, everything we do today is going to probably pay us 90 days from now.
Yes.
And
As long as we know that and work it that way.
exactly.
I think that's what's going to be good about this program is we're not asking everyone to go out there and shred their businesses down to the bone and rebuild it all up.
Right.
I think by listening to some of these episodes and the different topics that we have, that agents are going to be able to look at their business and realize, well, hey, I've got something here. I just need to tweak it a little bit.
Right.
I need to put a system here, right? Because here's an opportunity, but unless I have the fortitude to go through 90 days worth of activity to make it a reality, then it's still just going to sit right where it is. If we can help you get that into action and turn it into business down the road, I think that's what we're going to do here.
Absolutely. And it doesn't necessarily have to be business down the road and that translates into sales. For some people, it could be, hey, I want to enter this world of real estate. I've been a long time geographical farmer, and I want to get into the digital world of it and create a footprint there. Or I want to start a new system and get a new system to plug into my current systems and put that into place, and may not necessarily be looking to create more dollars and cents right away, but maybe it's a modification of, hey, how can I create more time for myself and keep my business exactly where it's at and becoming more efficient in my systems that I have in place.
Yeah, I mean, some of us, maybe all of us at some point or another, are sitting at our desks. We know there are things to do. And then we go into that website that we like.
Right.
Maybe for someone, it's the football site. Maybe for someone, it's the fishing site. Maybe for someone, it's the whatever site. And we kind of dawdle around, and then we're like, oh, you know what? I need to call Nestor. Pick up the phone, do your thing, back onto the website.
Right.
That's kind of how you operate. And these things pop into your mind once in a while. You get them done. Are you going to move forward? Sure, you're going to move forward. You're going to sit in your office all day, taking 8 hours to do what takes 4 hours. If you had that set up and you walked into the office and said, here's the 5 things I need to do, because your system's told you these are
Right.
the 5 things I need to do. And you can blow those out, say, hey, that makes a good day. Boom. Now you can make your choice. I'm going to go spend time with my family. I'm going to go do that hobby that I enjoy. Or I'm going to go out and I'm going to prospect some more because
Right.
I enjoy it and that's what I want to do. I want to build my business. So I think that's a lot of it. I think that's what we get in this trap of, is we don't have a good plan to take action in an
Right.
efficient manner.
You mentioned something that I really want to stress, because, and I think this is your philosophy as well as mine, is that we are not putting this together to put you in a, yes, want you to be uncomfortable, but want you to be uncomfortable in doing things that you like. You mentioned, if I want to go out and prospect more because I like it, I should. And that this doesn't mean that, hey, we're going to shove door knocking down your throat if you're not a door knocker, and that you're not comfortable with that. This is really more about, there are many different ways and opportunities to create change and build your business, and part of it is figuring out what are those things that you enjoy doing, and let's get better at them or more efficient at them. Not necessarily, hey, let's just do this activity even though I don't like it because we know it works.
Yep. I mean, that's really important. I know that's what I love about our mentor, Linda Spears, is she takes mentees and she doesn't try to stick a round peg in a square hole.
Right.
She talks, she counsels, she gets information from you. You know, if you're a inverted personality, not inverted, introverted.
Introvert, yeah.
Introvert, thank you. She's probably not going to say, hey, your best opportunity is to go out and knock on doors, go
Right,
do
right.
that for 3 hours a day, you know? And so she looks for your strengths. That's what we should all be doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm excited about this. I don't know if there's any questions out there.
Do you want me to go over some of the topics?
Yeah.
Kind of give a little bit of a...
Absolutely. I think what our first one's going to be mindset. I'm going off of memory.
It's always mindset.
Yes.
And some people are going to be like, yeah, Travis, I hear you say this all the time. But everyone likes to brush that off. Like, oh, this is silly. That's hooey or whatever. But it's the cornerstone in my mind.
It is.
You know, because we do have such a problem being consistent and staying positive. As a matter of fact, I was just thinking today, I had the best morning. I was on the phone all morning.
Nice.
Yeah, it was great. It felt so good. And I thought, I write in a journal every day. I thought, oh, I'm going to write in my journal how great this was. I thought, and you know what I'm going to end it with? Is this was a great day. But my best day is going to be when I walk into this office and I'm not feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
And within the first 3 hours at work, I feel like I do right now because I did what I was supposed to do. Because today was easy. I came in, I felt good.
Right.
I jumped on it. But you know what? That's not the challenge. The challenge could be tomorrow or a week from now when I'm like, I just don't want to do this. And the victory is doing what my system told me I needed to do that day, whether I wanted to or not. So yeah, mindset's very important.
So my 2 cents on mindset, we're exactly where we are because of our mindset. Everything that we wanted in life that we don't have, it's because of our mindset. Everything we've accomplished was because of our mindset. Is it important? Absolutely. Do you want to make any change in life? That's where it starts. It starts with an internal commitment to yourself and what's going on upstairs as far as, you know, I think you've stolen the phrase. I don't remember from who, and I can't remember the phrase now. That my head is probably what is it? My head's a scary place to be sometimes.
Tom Ferry.
Okay.
Your.
Your.
He always projects it on someone else.
So, well, a lot of times my head's a scary place to be sometimes. So
Let's not go too deep. We don't want to ruin all of our topics. But yeah, we start with mindset. We get into planning, which I think is so important, again, because it's nice to come into the office and know what you need to do that day.
Right.
And some days that's going to be that plus 10 other things that you've accumulated through your actions till then. But I think what happens in our business is we do accumulate things we need to do, and then we forsake those that are planned that we need to do that aren't immediate.
Mm-hmm.
And we hit those 10. Now we've missed a whole day of things that we need to do to give us opportunity down the road. So that's important. And then building systems on top of those. We're going through all kinds of prospecting, from closed transaction follow-up to geographical farming. We'll hit on that. What else do I have in here? Client consultations and seller consultations. Pay to play. We'll talk about that one week. That's out there.
It
It's an
is.
option.
And a lot of people are very successful with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is a true opportunity, and you can make money at it. It's definitely, it's all about taking that ROI and measuring it and making sure that you're making a profit.
Yeah. And then, of course, we'll talk about CRMs one day. We'll talk about, I think I already said, systems. And, of course, social media and video. How can you have a business without that these days?
Well, you can, but I personally believe it's a necessity now.
Yeah.
So at the very least, we've talked about this over and over again. You get Googled. So more often than we think, and by people we wouldn't even think are Googling us, we're getting Googled. So
Exactly.
we want to make sure we control what they see.
You don't know what business you didn't get.
Exactly.
I just had one of our agents come up and say, "Hey, Travis, I think I wanted to tell you this. I know we had some agents decide to go somewhere else, and then they went out on their own." She said, "I just want to let you know, one of their clients called me, and they said, hey, we love that agent, but we want the RE/MAX name." I was like, "That's fantastic." So there you go.
Right.
That agent doesn't even know they lost the business, and this other agent's picked it up. So if you're not on top of that stuff, you don't know.
Exactly.
And then budgeting, of course, got to get down to budgeting and a little bit of honing skills.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one. You hold role play every Friday, super important. And I think we need to reiterate that and share some anecdotes about how that goes.
I'm looking forward to that episode, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, because role play has gotten exciting. For those of you that aren't participating, just shoot me a note, and I'm happy to get you the link if you don't get the link, because we've got a good dynamic group that's on there. And this morning we had somebody 40 plus years in the industry and somebody 4+ weeks in the industry, going back and forth, role playing out a thing, and just to see the two different perspectives. And the 40+ years in the industry sent me an email right after saying, "Hey, I got value out of this," which is fantastic.
We've
That's what
seen
we're
that in
looking
multiple programs.
for. Right. So we're never too old. So
It's usually the newer agents saying, "Oh, I want to see what the experienced agents are doing." And it's awesome when we have those groups together.
Right.
And the experienced agents walk away and go, "I got to up my game."
Yep.
These guys are doing things that I haven't thought of.
Exactly.
So everybody gets value out of it.
Exactly. So, anyway, I don't think I have anything else to share for today. I'm excited about next week and rolling this out, and you should see some emails coming from us. So if
Yes.
you're on our mailing list, you'll see an email and an invite. I encourage you guys to take advantage of this. Like I said, we will have some accountability.
Yeah, that's one
attached
thing
to
we
it.
didn't touch on. So we'll be rolling that out, give you some more idea about it. Certainly isn't mandatory in any way, but I think it's for those who can get some benefit out of it. We do that here at RE/MAX every day,
Right.
all year long, with formal accountability classes. Some people, are fearful of them, and I think you got to get over that. It's not a fear; it's just an opportunity to hold yourself accountable to what you're doing.
Right.
And there's never judgment when what we do. So we look forward to that, having a couple classes. And you know what? I was going to say one thing is you were talking about role playing, and these things take on such different forms than maybe our minds present to us.
Yes.
Right? Because they're big, ugly monsters when it's something we don't want to do. But I remember role play many years ago when we had another manager here, and we would be doing recruiting calls. And I remember I'd be making calls, and someone would say something. I'd be like, "Oh," and I'd run over to his office, and I'd say, "Hey, this agent just said da 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 da. I didn't know what to say." And he's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "Well, you got to say this da 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 da." And then what I'm trying to come to is role play doesn't have to be in a formal class.
Nope.
And it doesn't have to, there's different types of role play. We have some agents in this office that want to just bust it out. They want 30 minutes of hitting hard and memorized scripts, which is
Correct.
awesome. And that's a great way to go. And then we have a more situational, like you do. It's like, well, hey, what's going on? What are your guys' challenges? What can we help you with now? Which are both great. But I think just having the opportunity of knowing people in your office,
Right.
having a chance to sit down with them, chat, you're going through role play in that. Because what do we
Exactly.
talk about at the office? We talk about work.
We talk about work. We talk about situations. This happened, and yeah, if we ever want advice, it's a great place to be. We can get a lot of it. So, and it's always easier after the fact. But we always start our role plays with, what was the objection that you got in the last 7 days that, stumped you, or that you want to hear a different perspective on, or, whatever the case may be. And those are always fun, because the person who's giving that scenario takes on the role of the person who had given them the objection. So they have it in their mind of how it went from the other person's perspective.
Yeah.
And so they get an opportunity to hear somebody fresh of, boom, how would they handle this? And they've already got the questions and their secondary objections in mind of what they're going to say, because it happened to them.
It's reality.
It is. It is very much reality. And my favorite part is having conversations a week later, 2 weeks later. It didn't happen this week, but last week we were in a role play situation where one of the agents was in an actual true situation, and it was a follow-up to a for sale by owner. So it had met with the for sale by owner, went over all the objections, but was able to secure a second appointment. And it was awesome to hear later that was actually able to secure the listing and get the closed transaction. It was nice to hear that success story, and that we had a part of that, just based on them taking out some of the information. And that happens more often than we think. I mean, that's always one of my favorite things, that, hey, these things work. You just
Got to use them.
got to use them, and got to make a plan and put it together. So,
Yeah.
All right.
Fantastic. Well, looking forward to getting started next week and having lots of people join us, and hopefully some interaction. I love it when we
Absolutely.
get questions and comments from the audience, and then getting through 120 days and seeing some fantastic results.
I'm excited for it. Any questions out there in the audience that I need to know, or that we need to know about? No. All
And
right.
we got to change that. We got to start poking people in the ribs somehow.
Exactly. So, thank you guys, everybody. Happy Friday to you. Travis, have a happy Friday, happy weekend. Everybody else out there, same. Happy weekend, happy Friday, and we'll see you next week.
See you in a week.
All right,
Thanks,
take
guys.
care.